You had in the dot yesterday talking about how the Saints allowed 26 home run plays. That's what I'm gonna call them, just home run big plays. And you kind of detail how the secondary, the young secondary players we mentioned earlier, and Alante and Kool Aid, have to try to cap that. So, can the Saints fix their big play problem on defense?
Yeah, it's the one thing that Rizzy Magic hasn't solved yet. It was funny. He was talking about, he shows up dressed like Bob the Builder last week, and he brings all his tools and says you got to bring your lunch pail to work, and he brings a level, and he says, and you have to finish the job, because he was saying their big thing is fourth quarters.
Yeah.
They haven't been finishing fourth quarters. Sure enough, that's something they've done. The last 2 weeks, they've finished fourth quarters. I'm trying to remember what his digging the hole. He handed I don't think he handed everyone a shovel. But
I think they had they have shirts. Yeah, they have
shovels.
shirts. Yeah,
He's like, we all dug our way in this. We all gotta
dig our way out,
fill the dirt back in the hole and get out of this hole. So he's got that, and I said to him, I go, is your next one? Have you already gone on Amazon and ordered your props for the stop and explosive plays? And he said that will absolutely. I'm not going to reveal what it is yet, but that will absolutely be the message of next week.
Let's take quick guesses on what it would be. You think it's like a helmet, not like a football helmet, but like a hard hat.
He's going to show up in a Spider-Man costume. Start shooting some webs everywhere. Don't let anything get past here. I don't know.
I don't know.
Like,
I don't know. Maybe some barricades. Maybe some barricades, like a
barricades.
roadblock. Yeah, I think you know how
he can bring in all the people, like the people working traffic when I'm trying to get into the Superdome. They're pretty good at slowing things down.
Yeah, for sure. But just continuing your point on
so it's 26 plays of 30-plus yards or penalties, plays or penalties. Some famous ones that have lost games.
Yeah.
The Eagles game, 61 yards and 65 yards in the fourth quarter. The Falcons game, a 30-yard pass interference penalty. They're lucky that they had enough wiggle room to afford giving up a 71-yard pass last week and a 30-yard touchdown pass last week to the Browns. They continued to do that against the Falcons and Darnell Mooney. It's a couple of things. A couple of times, Philly game way back when, it was two guys running into each other in the middle of the field on a defensive breakdown. It's definitely been missed tackles. I don't think they've solved their missed tackles problem completely. They're showing more energy. They're showing more fire. But they're still missing tackles in every level of the defense.
Yeah.
And it's the secondary that we just talked about, Alante Taylor and Kool-Aid McKinstry. Alante Taylor's got a couple of times. He's going to need to tighten up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think these are unsolvable problems. I think the defense is showing a lot of pride, a lot of fire and energy in saying we wanted to be the leaders of this team, and we're getting back to that. And DeMario Davis' speech about this is the fourth quarter. We're not going to let this game go. We're going to win the fourth quarter. That stuff needs to also show up in the don't let someone get open over the top of you twice a week. It's happening twice a week.
Yeah, it's become a real pattern. Even going back to the Eagles game, I was like, well, man, that's like a Three Stooges type play. That doesn't happen where one player just takes out two of their own players. But then Falcons game, you saw the PI, and then just continuing on. But like I've mentioned in the post-game shows, Rizzy seems like he's always finding ways to patch problems. Now, the tackling problem that you brought up, it is not as egregious as it was. Because at one point, it was like, man, they can't stop a nosebleed. But they've kind of gotten a little bit better. But, yes, on all three levels.
Hasn't been as bad as Tampa and Denver.
That's what I'm thinking. When it was low.
That was extreme.
When it was low, it was like, man, these cats.
It's still a concern, though.
Yeah,
it's
sure.
Still a major concern.
For sure.
And now you got Cooper Kupp, Kyron Williams, and Puka Nacua coming to town. I don't think you're going to face a better trio of skill position players and a big arm quarterback.
Yeah.
So it's going to be put to the test right away.
Yeah, and that's the thing. People were earlier this season talking about, well, the Rams won't trade Matthew Stafford. Like, Matthew Stafford, he's been on bad teams for a long time. And now that he's got his Super Bowl ring, he's just continuing to show people that he still can and is that guy in a certain respect and sense of speaking. So I think for sure he's going to try to light the Saints up in the Dome.
We just
next
saw
week.
that during that five game streak at the end of last year. They went 4-1. The one team they absolutely could not solve was the Rams.
Yeah, no, for sure. I remember going up there and it was just like, Shaheed had that early home run play. I was like, oh man, but after that, popping them off. So it was rough, and hopefully Rizzy Ball just changes the way that whole thing is played. But who in the secondary, people like Ugo Amadi and different players like that, kind of have you seen them step up in their time?
No. No, I mean, and look, that was the unit that got most exposed by the Rams in that game when the secondary was playing great for a stretch. I think Alante Taylor got benched during that game, right? And, came back, fought back from that good, but he's going to have a lot to prove against that team. Ugo Madi in the nickel, they've been attacking him a little bit too, and Khalid McKinstry hasn't been attacked as much as Taylor and Ugo recently, but he's going to be. Like, he's the rookie of this bunch still. And when you've got Kupp on one side and Nakua on the other side, you get to attack both corners.
Yeah, you got to find out how you're going to play that. That's real.